All right, what's up, good people? It's your boys, Beards of War, back again. You got myself, the Chocolate Avenger, Thick Nick Fury. You got the Conductor of Chaos, hey, Captain Jack. We have a special episode for you guys today. This is what we call a wild hair episode. So today we won't be joined by FBR and Scorched Earth, but they will have their own show coming up later on. We are doing something that Captain Jack and I enjoy, and that's covering the Game of Thrones type shows. Uh, covered House of the Dragon back when it was out. Like, man, it feels like 8 years ago.
Forever.
Um, and we finally got something else to follow that up, and that's the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. All right, currently playing on HBO Max. Um, this so far the show has been fantastic. The scene is set about 100 years prior to the Game of Thrones and everything that goes on with the Game of Thrones. We have a whole new cast of characters, and as Captain Jack and I were discussing, these are people who are, at least not to us, known actors, and I think that is kind of what's giving this that much more of an acceptance because now we're kind of like growing with the characters. It's almost like, this is how you get your Wolverine, right? A relatively unknown becomes the face of a major and loved character. And the title character, Peter Claffey, is actually an ex-Irish rugby player, believe it or not.
I believe it.
Um, right? Dude is like 6'5", like we need a large dude, Sir Duncan the tall. So they literally found themselves a tall, former rugby player. He's doing fantastic work. Dexter Soul and Soul, who plays Egg, 11 years old, spectacular child actor, man. I mean, I'm like glued to the screen every time he's on screen,
He's
and it's
11
just
years
fun to
old
watch.
today. He
Today,
was
right?
9 when he filmed this.
Amazing.
9 years old. So
Amazing, dude. And he's
impressive.
doing amazing. Exactly. It's like it's nothing short of impressive. Just the back and forth between the two characters. So we're gonna get into that. We have Daniel Ings, who plays Sir Lionel the Laughing. He's like the eccentric, I guess, sir, with the long hair. He's always like having fun and laughing. That's why they call him the Laughing. Um, Ross Anderson, who plays Sir Humphrey. You got a bunch of other ones playing like the Targaryens who are, still around. It's going to take me about 2 seasons to get the names right. So let's just bear with me on this. I know they're Targaryens. They're the ones with the white hair. That's about the only thing that's consistent, I think, across the whole thing with the Game of Thrones. Um,
But this Targaryen doesn't have white hair. The one we're got up on screen right now.
well, yeah, that's
What's going
because
on there?
but I don't know. Maybe that's no spoilers ahead. Okay, spoilers ahead. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he's on Duncan's team. All
There
right,
you go.
so we're gonna go ahead and get started, man. We're gonna start with we're kind of just gonna run through the first 3 episodes, right? Four? Is it four?
4 episodes. Yeah, the first
Four,
four.
right. So 4 episodes, and I will say this about the show. So if you haven't seen it, spoilers ahead, obviously. Um, what I do appreciate is the length of the episodes. They're not extremely long. You may get like I think from 40 minutes to like maybe 30 something minutes, but they're packed with action. They're packed with fun. It's like watching, like growing with the characters, and there's some comedy involved, even though it's a drama series. So there are some fun moments in it. And I think this is kind of like how you get invested into characters, showing the lighter side of it. So I'm already in with Sir Duncan, and we start with him burying his knight, so to speak, Sir Arlen of Pennytree, and it kind of just sets the stage from there, and that kind of sets him on his path to become a knight and to fight to join the list and to fight into the tournament and all that good stuff. So we start out, he's burying him in the ring, and then it kind of gives us a little view of what his life was like, right? I don't know, probably a lot of dysentery back in those days. I don't know what the diet was like, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty hard on the intestines and the digestive system. But we get a little diarrhea spurting out there, which was fun. And like I said, it's just one of those things that makes the show endearing. The how he speaks of Sir Arlen to everyone and kind of says, "Hey, this is Sir Arlen. He did this. He was this great man, and no one seems to know who he is." So, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I mean, I just, we first off, that diarrhea scene, the just squirting diarrhea. Let me tell you, folks, HBO knew that they needed to show you that they weren't taking themselves too seriously with this series. The length, like Eric, like Thick Nick said, man, it's the length of this episode is shorter, it's faster, but it's also just like pure storytelling. Um, we come in, we're not taking ourselves too seriously. We see somebody having diarrhea by a tree on the side of the road. Like, what are we even doing? Oh
Right.
my gosh. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and so like I said, he's on his way to the games, I guess, and he comes across a small young man, Egg, and Egg is kind of like an orphan, right? They're kind of he's like, I want to go with you, I want to be your squire, and he's like, man, you don't need to be a squire, like who are you? Well, like don't bother me, that kind of thing. So of course that's going to be one of those he's going to take him under his wing. You can kind of tell the kid has a lot of personality, a lot of charisma, and he seems to be very knowledgeable, which is why it makes this team up so good. Because the thing that Sir Duncan doesn't know, like Egg just automatically knows, like, well, no, you have to do this, and then this is how this works, and we don't even get to understand, at least at this point, how he knows so much. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah. So I think, we show up. He's an anti-hero, right? He's a hedge knight. So no money. That means no money, really no job, because
Hmm.
knights are like, they've got a job. They go work for a lord in a specific area. Usually like a family has some sort of heritage, and so you work for that family or it's your family, right? But
Right.
he's a hedge knight. He's wandering around. He's not quite a sellsword, but he's about as close as you can get to a sellsword as you can, right? I mean, I don't
Right.
know what the difference between a sellsword and a hedge knight is, but it's something in between. I guess it's just more honor bound rather than financial.
Right, yeah, and that's kind of like what we're getting at here is Duncan is a knight by and we're not even sure. Like, and I think at this point, Duncan's not even sure. Okay, was Sir Arlen really a knight, or was I'm just like kind of being bamboozled by this guy? But he still honors him, and he wants people to realize at least what he meant to him, right? So when he gets to the tournament, he has to convince. He finds out he has to convince the lords to grant him interest into the tournament. So he's going around asking people, "Do you know Sir Arlen the Penny Tree?" And they're like, "I have no idea who that dude is." And it's like, "But he was such a great knight, and he fought for you, and this and that, and he did all these great things." But meanwhile, nobody's heard of him. So now you're kind of wondering, like, Sir Arlen really just like maybe the local drunk, and Duncan just came about, and they're like, "Oh man, we're a knight and a squire." Like, yeah, how about that? And they're just going about life, just doing night things, and and I think that's probably what is going to be a really big turning point somewhere along the series is who was Sir Arlen really? And to bring it back to another one of those scenes, we get a full frontal of Sir Arlen, and I'm just gonna say, Penny Tree, I kind of get it. I mean, this put 28 years later to shame. This dude was packing like a I don't know, a mutant donkey. All right, if
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Um, and I'm
The pr-
like, why? Like, why
the
do we need that? But it adds to the fun. It adds to the legend. Who was Sir Arlo the Penny Tree?
the props department definitely gave him some well endowed I don't
Hey,
know. It was not a sock.
I
This was
don't.
not like a privacy sock. This was a full on thing. So yeah, what the
Yeah,
heck?
I mean, but again, like I said, a lot of fun. And at this point, and then, again, we're going through 4 episodes. We're not breaking them down individually because it does. It kind of runs into each other. But the fact that Egg is wanting to train, and then when they go to the tournament and they see how the tournament is actually run, which is phenomenally done, by the way, like to show jousting almost like a pit crew. Like, you have the squires running out, handing the lances, and he's sitting there like, oh, I got a lot of work to do. Like he's just like, oh, this is not easy to be a squire. And it's
Yeah.
not. It's like, man, that was serious. The jousting scenes were phenomenal. They really did. They spared no expense with showing that, and I think that is very. I think that's the first time I've really seen it get that detailed. With the jousting and the way the games were played and all that good stuff, and the way the knights went at each other. And you just see like, Egg kind of taking his job seriously. He's taking Thunder out there like, listen, you have a job to do, I got a job to do. He's taking the horse out and he's training with the horse. and he's trying to get the horse to run, and it's
Look,
just so much fun watching him really like take his job seriously. And Duncan's just trying to find somebody to back him, man. I just need some sponsors, man. And at this point, it's just like, like what, like somebody's got to back this team, man. Like I wish I could have, but that's kind of how that episode's running along, and they're trying to get into the tournament, and Duncan's doing his thing, and like I said, and Egg just, just being the boss that he is, man, just taking on things and all that good stuff.
what I want to tie into one of the things that you mentioned, which is how well they covered the tournament. Um, Something to note is that Game of Thrones, we have gotten used to a lot of blue screen, a lot of green screen, a lot of CGI. And that is not what this season is. This season, they do still use CGI, but it's so minimal, you're never
Hmm.
going to notice it. It is a cleanup tool rather than a scene creator. And so they use it to add fine details to small things. But these are practical locations. These are actual built locations that you can walk through. They are shooting all of these things. They're all real, right? They're using real animals, they're using real everything. And the scale that they're shooting at is so much closer to reality that it just draws you in. It's real storytelling, right?
Absolutely.
It's not shock and awe. It's not, you know, the in the one Game of Thrones episode where they had like copy pasted to get just extra crew in. Like, no, man, like they're using real extras. They're really bringing people in. They're using their budget wisely
Yeah.
on practical effects, and it's really cool to see. It's really drawing you in. We've talked about some really cool actors who are in the show, but like for me, I don't recognize any of them from anything else. And
Right.
so that really just adds to the make your mind believe that you're watching history. Obviously we're not, right? This is a
Right. Right.
magical fantasy land.
Right.
But like,
But they're
you think
believable.
about it. Yeah, they could totally be real.
Yeah.
So cool.
And
Um,
I think too, like, so we find out that I think it's the Zakarians have lost two of their children, right? Two of the
yeah.
boys, and no one knows whether we don't know anything about them, right? And at the tournament, you have one of the Targaryens, I guess, like the dragon. I forget. Is Arya? Is Aryan?
Yeah.
Is that the one? Yeah. So
Hmm.
Aryan is jousting with a knight. He does the douche move, and he stabs at the horse. The horse comes down and breaks the knight's leg, and it's like, oh man, he did that on purpose. Everyone's in like getting kind of upset and all this other stuff, and it's like, okay, we can see he's gonna be like a Bluto to our Popeye in this situation. But it's kind of setting the stage, right? And you already see that he's going to be dishonorable, and knights are supposed to protect those, protect the weak, right? That's like one of the main codes of it. And you know, as we also see this young lady who was a puppeteer, and of course, as they're at the festival, Duncan sees her, becomes smitten like with her, and he's trying to like, like talk to her, but he doesn't know how. And Egg's telling him like, well, you gotta say something to her. Like it's just watching Egg give this dude all the advice. I mean, in general, just in life, you know what I mean? It's so fun to watch. And as according to the book, and I know you, I think you've read the book, if I'm not mistaken, Kat.
And they're like novellas. They're like really short. So these are really short stories. So yeah, I read them a couple of years, like 10 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. And this young lady's supposed to be very tall in the books, and the actress I believe is like 5'11" or something like that. So she's a tall actress, and I do appreciate that they try to physically mimic,
Hmm.
what they want to portray on screen. And that's another positive thing about getting an actor that no one knows. You can actually be more true to the character you're trying to portray rather than make them appear larger, right? So I don't
Hmm.
have to put Tom Cruise on a platform and then have everyone else walking down in trenches. I say, oh no, I was going to do the 6'5", and no one knows if he's a good actor or not. And then you look at him like, wow, it's a good actor because this is the only thing you know him in, right?
Yeah.
So and that way it's working. And so we'll get into the Targaryens, I guess, and the uncle, and
Can I touch one more
yeah,
just so
absolutely.
we've kind of been talking about the beginning, right? So episode one. I gotta tell you, episode one, and even a little bit into episode two, A Knight's Tale. It's a
Knight's
Knight's
Tale.
Tale. right? Like I'm not really a knight. I'm trying to set myself up to be a knight, and I'm going around, and I'm telling you, if Paul Bettany shows up in this series, like that's it. This is A Knight's Tale redone without Heath Ledger. Like that's what we're looking at.
It
And
could
it's
happen, man.
strong vibes of Knight's Tale in this one. And
Yeah.
and I've loved it. Like it's been so much fun. The shorter length episodes makes it easier for me to get through, and you're done watching and you're like, man, I want to see more. But fortunately, gotta wait another week. So
Right, right, yeah. And that's, and that's one of the things about it is you don't mind waiting for these episodes to come up because they're so good, and they give you a lot. Um, so now you kind of have, like I said, Duncan's still trying to get into the tournament. He finds out something like, oh yeah, if you claim to be a knight, like you don't need anyone to back you, right? So it's like, oh, so I can just get into the tournament. Sure, but now he's got to get, shields, got to get armor. And I like the way he goes into the first shop. And the guy's like, oh yeah, I can do that for you. They'll be like 800 squid or whatever. He's like, oh, I got like 2 bits. Like, he had like a couple of pennies. And it's like, yeah, yeah, no, that's not gonna get it. He just throws like just one little beat up helmet. So I'm like, yeah, bro, you're gonna need to work on that. Um, but later on, like as the show progresses, that guy, that the armor maker, is becomes like one of the crew, So I
Steely
like
Pate.
that. Right, right.
Yeah, Steely Pate bringing it in, man.
Yep, yep. So you're already seeing the formation of the Avengers. No, no pun intended. And it's just, you see the ragtag bunch of individuals kind of coming together, and I guess we can get to when the Targaryen showed up and the puppeteer putting on the little play, and in the play she's portrayed as slaying a dragon. Didn't go over well with Targaryens, and Aryan was upset, and he attacks her and breaks her finger, and said the dragon never loses.
Yep.
And Duncan saw this, and well, no, Egg I think had to go
Eggs.
get him, right?
Yeah, Egg goes and
Yeah,
gets him.
yeah. Egg goes and gets Duncan. Duncan comes back and sees that, and he hauls off and gives Aryan the business, gives him the 1-2 and oh, you can't do the to a Targaryen, bro. That's not good. So they're getting ready to stomp Duncan's teeth out, and I mean, the guards have him, and he's getting ready to get stomped out, and all of a sudden everything stops. Stop, let him go. Like, oh, who is this? You recognize the voice? Egg. Egg walks in and stops, shuts the whole thing down. It's like, okay, well, why are we listening to Egg? She's like, because my father you have to deal with my father. I'm like, who's his father? And you find out he's Arian's brother. I'm like, oh man. And Arian looked at me, it's like, why did you shave what happened to your hair? Because he shaved all his hair so he wouldn't be recognized. So I'm like, wow, Egg is just 2 steps in front of everybody. And that was a great reveal. That probably the biggest reveal so far throughout the show is that Egg is actually a Targaryen. And even after that, Duncan is kind of upset with him. And even though like Egg is just like kind of like royalty, he still has that I didn't want to let you down. Like he still wants to be a squire, even though his level is here, but he just wants to belong to something that's kind of bigger, that means a little bit more, and he still wants to be down, for Duncan and his cause. And that leads to the trial, right? So now that you've assaulted a Targaryen, there's certain things that have to come along with that, and then Arya chooses a trial by 7, and they're like, "What the heck, the trial by 7?" And the other Targaryens are like, "Are you really trying to call out that old age bullshit? Like, are you really bringing that up right now?" And the way it's like, I think it's his father, some grabbed him by the shirt, like, "Come here!" Like he was upset with him, like, "Dude, what you making yourself look like an idiot." So the trial by 7 is you have to get 7 knights to believe in your cause to fight beside you. And as we know, Duncan couldn't even get a sponsor, so now he has to get 7 knights to come fight alongside of him. And that was another good episode of him trying to get these people together.
Yeah, I loved that part because in the trial, so the father, he's like, "Are you seriously being this coward that you won't just go and fight this guy who kidnapped your brother?" Like,
Mhm.
because the dad believes that Dunk has kidnapped Aegon because, that would happen.
Right. And
People
the other
would,
brother said that. I think
yeah, yeah.
that's what it
And
was. Yeah.
the other brother said it. The brother who had the dreams, which that's another interesting thing. We've had some allusion to things that we know are going to happen in the future. And so one of them is that Dunk gets his so they go to a fortune teller. They just happen to be walking past, and a
Hmm.
fortune teller says, hey, you will be rich beyond your wildest dreams. And this is what she's saying to Duncan. And then she looks at Egg and she says, everyone will hate you and you will die burning in fire.
Right, you'll be a king. Everyone's gonna hate you, and you'll die burning. Yeah, I'm like, whoa. He's like, I was like, what? Man, come on, like not
And
egg.
Duncan is just like, oh, this is just some ridiculous fortune teller. But Egg is like, no, bro, like I could be the king. Like this is messed up.
Right, this
I'm
is
gonna
legit.
burn. What is gonna happen? Yeah,
Yeah,
that energy, that was hilarious. And we know, right? Like we know that there are these fire dreams, right? Or I can't remember what they called them in Game of Thrones, but it's people who are able to see the future and they have these dreams. We know that uh Bran the Boneless, or no,
oh yeah,
that's not
that's
Boneless. I'm
Vikings.
thinking Vikings.
Another great
Ivar.
show, by the way. Love
Yeah.
Vikings.
Oh, great period pieces, right? But yeah, no, Bran, he had those dreams. And so I'm curious to see how that's gonna work out because, in the those were like the old gods, right? Bran was
Right.
seeing through the godwood trees, and I don't know what they're gonna allude to with this being a Targaryen who has the gift of foresight. Like, what is that? Is that the magic behind the dragons? Because if you know a lot about the lore in Game of Thrones, dragons are the source of magic. And so right now, when there's a period where there isn't where there aren't dragons, then there really shouldn't be any magic. So I'm curious how they're going to pull on this
Mm,
because that is the dragons are the main cause of magic, and that was when like Melisandre, right? When Daenerys came back, Melisandre was like, "Oh wait, no, this is real. The fire god is real, and I'm actually getting powers." Like that's the whole thing. So I'm curious to see how that'll pull with a Knight of Seven Kingdoms, like this guy having the dreams. Let's see what happens.
right. Yeah. I see where they go with that. So we have again we have Sir Duncan trying to put his team together. And he actually gets Sir Humphrey. So Humphrey's like, "Oh, I'll join your cause." He's like, "Because I believe in your cause." And Sir Humphrey's one of those knights that was, pretty good. And he was fighting like sparring with his cousin, and his cousin's like kind of him and Duncan are kind of become buddy buddy and all that good stuff. And as we get closer, we have the knight that broke his leg, the horse fell on him. So again, he's got, Sir Lionel, so you got like a ragtag bunch of guys, and I think they're only at six. And then Sir Humphrey drops the bomb. He's
Yeah.
like, "No, you're down to five. I'm actually fighting with the Targaryens." I'm like, "Oh, you son of a," and I'm just like, "Wow, dude, you really went there, bro."
He went and
And
traded it for his lordship, man.
right, and he's like, and he tells us you would done the same. So the cousin's sitting there like, "You know what? Knight me." He's like, I'm fighting with you guys. Just go ahead and knight me. And Duncan does not know how to knight anyone because he wasn't knighted by Sir Arlen, which is another one of those scenes that is absolutely hilarious. So you have Sir Lionel who comes over and actually knights, the cousin with a beautiful saying. I don't remember the saying verbatim, but it was something, along the lines of like a Green Lantern, like epic, tale or whatever. And all you picture is Duncan's like looking at Arlen. Arlen's just kind of like, like, yeah, I guess you're a knight. I don't have any rituals or anything, but I think you're starting to see the differences about how the knighthood is progressing in the actual stages rather than what he experienced with Arlen the Penny Tree. And it's just funny to see those, those comparisons. He's like, we didn't do any of this, So now I think he's starting to even. Well, is it still really a knight? So I don't know if it's creeping in yet, but he's definitely picking up on some differences.
Yeah.
And so now they have six, and then now they need one more knight. And who is it? It becomes the uncle of Arian and Egg, who decides to fight with Duncan because he said they're fighting to protect the weak. And I'm like, man, that was just an amazing scene. And it's like, oh man, Duncan is actually getting some heavyweights behind him because he is fighting for honor, which is what a knighthood is really about. And I think as a Targaryen, especially Aryan, at least at this point, he kind of lost that. You kind of forget why you're a knight. You're kind of a knight out of, like
It's the family
your
business.
bloodline, right? Your
Yeah.
bloodline. You didn't earn it, right? Yeah,
And it
you didn't
wasn't a
earn it.
calling, right? Like it's just what do they call it when it's the family business?
Nepotism.
Nepotism. He's a nepo
Yeah.
baby knight. Like he was bred to be a knight from the day he was born, but he doesn't really care about it. He just likes,
The
fighting.
family business. It's the
Yeah.
family business.
But Balerion, who is the heir apparent, right? So he's next in line for the throne should the grandfather pass. And
Mm.
so it's like you've got the frickin' crown prince who's coming up to fight on your side. And
Yeah.
that's where episode 4 ends.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, man. And
Cliffhanging.
well, listen, guys, we jumped on this show, and I'm telling you, I think in like a day, maybe two, I mean, binge watched the whole thing. It
I
was
watched the whole
that
thing in one day.
engaging. It was engaging, and you don't feel like, oh my God, when is the episode over? It was like, oh man, the episode's over. Okay, next one, and then you're like, oh, the next one's not out until the 15th. But we're gonna bring this to you on a weekly basis. So the next episode we'll be all caught up, and hopefully you guys will be caught up too, so you guys can come on and let us know what you guys think if you've already seen it. If you're already into it, like let us know. Let us know what you think is gonna happen. What actors you enjoy watching because these are the next faces of Game of Thrones, right? So we already know what to expect, so to speak. I mean, I think this show is going in a little bit different direction, but you're already invested. Like I'm already invested in the characters, and sometimes that's what it takes. It takes a little bit of levity to get you to endear yourself. Because whenever the comedic relief dies, we always feel that, right? We always like, oh man, I can't believe they killed the dude that made everybody laugh. So this is kind of like, we're enjoying the characters. We enjoy the connection that we're getting already with Egg and Duncan. And seeing who's really going to come up and step up for these guys and putting a team together. And I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Like I said, we'll have Scorched Earth and we'll have FBR back, and they're going to do a separate show while Captain Jack and I are covering this one. But we're still going to do our movies. But for right now, we're on Knights of the Seven Kingdom, and so far I have nothing negative to say about it. Like every episode has brought something else, and it's just going to wow! I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah. I mean, let's keep in mind we killed Sean Beam in season 1 of Game of Thrones. So don't
Right.
get too attached to your characters because you don't know who they're gonna take from you.
Come on, man. Well, it's
But
not gonna be Duncan or Egg because
nah, because it's the
the
Duncan Egg show.
the no, because the fortune teller said that they have some stuff to do. Now everybody else, I can't vouch for you, but
Yeah.
Duncan and Egg, they're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I mean it'll be a pretty short series if they kill either one of them. We know Egg dies by fire, right? Because
Right.
there's been that foreshadowing. So we'll see what ends up happening from there. But now I don't know. I just want to read the vows of knighthood because like it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. You got it, but I knew you'd find it.
so in the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the mother, I charge you to defend the young and innocent. In the name of the maid, I charge you to protect all women. And that's what he gets off on, right? Because
Man,
he
yeah.
should be getting let go by the gods because he was protecting a woman.
Makes me
So,
want to pick up a sword. I'm just
hey, let's
saying.
go.
Makes me want to, and then Arlen the Pen, and that was a contrast. So Arlen the Penny Tree was just like, like okay, like you're a knight, So I love it. I like where it's going. I like good voice on that too, by the way, Cap. Um, like I said, it makes me want to pick up a sword, man. I would fight with Duncan and Egg in a minute, if I was back there during that time, and if I don't even know if they allowed black guys to be knights, but if they did, I'd go with Team Duncan. I think I
Yeah.
would, I don't want to be a squire. A squire job looks tough, but
Well, remember we did have the sea snake in in
right, House of the Dragon.
House of the
Now, when was
Dragon.
House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon's like a
Like it's
1,000 years before.
1,000. Okay, so somewhere in between there and now, I don't look. I don't see no
Just
Black
saying.
Knights. Let's get all right. But season one, I'm gonna give y'all some time. I'll get some Black Knight. If y'all need
Yep.
somebody to come on and play Black Knight, call me. I'll do it.
Eric's got his IMDb credit. He's ready to go. Nick,
Yes.
go do it,
Thank
bro.
thanks to this is not a draft.com. Hey, check it out, man. Really, really, guys, if you haven't heard, this is not a draft. Award-winning documentary, by the way. Captain Jack, man, spearheaded the whole thing, got us here, the Beards of War involved, and we were happy to do it. And we're just looking to go bigger and better, man.
Yeah, no, it was an honor to get that award, and we're excited to move on. But loving what we're doing with the channel, loving what we do and telling veteran stories, and now we're telling Beards of War stories. So
There you go. I love it.
there it is. All right, well that's this week's episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms from Beards of War. Come back see us next week when we tag into episode 5.
There you go. Thick Nick Fury out here.
Captain Jack out. If I can find the buttons.
Can't order chew bubblegum.
Nope. Here to kick ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all out of bubble gum.